Hello everyone, I am Plankera, and today we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. Still making my way through the hair on the downward head turn here. And I was just taking a look at this little part on the front bang here. And I think it could use a little bit of adjustment still. Mostly just I feel like this little guy over here needs to be a little bit further to the right. Just some tiny, tiny subtle details there, but important nonetheless. Cannot talk today. Okay, today I remembered to take allergy medicine, so hopefully I won't be quite as stuffy as I was yesterday. This area is front and center, so I do want to make sure that I get all the little details here right. I think they're mostly there. There's just a couple little small things here and there. I was looking at it a little bit before the stream started, and overall I'm pretty happy with how things are looking. So I'm just going to stare at it for a little bit just to make sure I'm satisfied with how it's all shaking out. I think I want to raise this highlight a little bit more too. I don't want to push it too hard, but I think it'll look better if it's a little bit higher. And a little bit flatter up there to emphasize that we're seeing the top of the bang a little bit more. Oh, did I make it a little bit too round? I think I did. Yes, I did. But I think rather than adjusting in the middle here, I actually want to adjust on the side. Like I said, I just really want to emphasize that we are now seeing the top of the bang instead of the front. So some of these little areas that are not quite as prominent in the front view will be here. And I want to make sure I get them right. I think I can get away with something like this. So let's take a look, see how I feel about it. Yeah. I think this is the right idea. Once I get the shape looking a little bit better, I think it'll be good. Just need to pull some of these areas over here out a little bit more, maybe flatten right here just a little bit more. I might have made it a little bit too round. Sounds like something I do. And then I just want to make this area of the highlight a little bit flatter. Kind of follow the same shape that it had before I deformed it. Yeah, something like that. It's getting there. I think I really do like the idea here. Just need to make a few more refinements. Over here, I think I actually want this little shadow a little bit lower. I'll just go in and try to get those last few details right. Let's go a little closer here. Stare at it a little bit more. I try to take in some of these last few details. Okay. Just a little bit too high here. Just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. We're getting somewhere. Do feel like we're getting somewhere here. If I just shove this a little bit further to the right, must have moved it a little bit to the left when I was making some of these bigger changes. I think that'll look pretty good. Just some small things here and there. Yeah. Okay, I think I like this. Now I want to take a look at this underneath spot, because that's what I was here changing in the first place. And I got distracted. Distractions happen, it's fine. Oh yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Probably about as good as I can make it. Is it though? Let me stare at it for just a second here. Really get a good look at things. Okay. Yeah, there was just a little bit off in the shadows here. I think things are roughly in the right place. I just need to, like, pull the light area here a little bit further over. It just got pulled a little bit too much when I was moving everything over to the right there. But yes, I am overall happy with how this is shaking out. Now let's see if I can change the shape of the shadow just a little bit. I'm not sure if I can. Just a little bit here. The reason why I say that I'm not sure if I can sometimes is just with the way I made the mesh. I didn't always cut or mesh things in a way that would give me 100% control. I think that would make the layers incredibly unyieldy and would probably either make the overall product, the overall final piece look a lot worse, or it would take like 10 times longer just to do anything at all. So some sacrifices were made there. And occasionally I run into areas where I'm like, okay, maybe if I could do it like this, it would look very slightly better. But because I didn't make just absolutely ridiculous levels of cutting, or absolutely ridiculous fine detail and meshing, that I may not be able to make that kind of movement. It is a trade-off, but so far I've been pretty happy with how I've meshed this, with maybe a few exceptions. Like on this strand, I kind of wish that I was a little bit more particular about the shadow, for example. But the areas where I am unhappy with my meshing are actually fairly few and far between. I have learned quite a lot since my first model. It's nice to see. And hopefully I will continue picking up new techniques as I continue trying this and watching other people. I do enjoy watching speed rigs in pretty much the same way I'd watch speed paints too. Time lapses are a lot of fun to watch, I think. I'm looking forward to turning this into a time lapse. But I kind of want to have it finished first. I've considered putting the art cutting into a time lapse now, when I don't have everything else done yet, but I haven't decided if I'm going to yet. I think it probably makes more sense to release everything at the same time. Since, like, I don't know, But it doesn't make sense to watch the cutting when there's no video of the rigging with that art yet. I don't know, it seems strange. Maybe it's just me. But at the very least, if I don't release it before the rig is done, I will definitely release it after the rig is done. Through here, I was noticing that where the gradient from purple to white looked a little bit off to me. I wanted to spend some time touching that up. Didn't expect there to be quite so many shenanigans in this area, so it's taken a little bit longer than I expected. I apparently accidentally touched the shadow area when using the brush. Not too surprising, the brush is big and indiscriminate. It can just tear through things very quickly. Very useful for when you want to move things around. Very scary if you accidentally use it a little bit too much. Sometimes it just goes, you know? That's alright, I'll just put it back. It's not really that big a deal. I think it probably saved me a bit of effort in the long run here. I just need to remember how this all actually goes. It's me here wanting to curl it a little bit more than I should. Knocked things out of alignment a little bit there. So I gotta use my eyes and watch carefully to actually make sure that all these shadows get to where they need to go. I'm actually a little bit surprised at how far to the right this shadow goes. I thought that that area would have been curlier, but it's actually pretty straight. Pretty straight indeed. That's why it's important to pay attention. Really look at what's actually there, and not just what I assume my eyes are seeing. Yeah, there we go. Alright, now we just got some shifting upward that I want to fix. Just pull these little vertices downward, assuming it eventually decides to let me. Sometimes I'm not sure why it takes so long for the program to notice that I'm dragging the vertex. One of those things that's still a bit strange. I'm gonna drag that all the way down to the tip here. It's like today I planned on doing the tips of the bangs, the front bangs and stuff, so it makes sense that I pay attention to the tips and the frontmost bang here. It makes sense. It's on theme. Very much on theme. Hopefully I can get through a few of those today. I think those areas are kind of the most important ones, so they're the ones that I want to pay special attention to. The other ones I want to look good, but they're not, like, special, you know? They are not of the utmost importance to get right. These areas around the eyes, especially, really want to get them right. That's why I've been spending, like, every day just taking another look at the front bang, seeing how many of these small details that I can get right here. This is the area to really focus on. Been having some fun with my stylistic experiment. Mentioned it in a few streams, but basically I'm in the process of drawing the same picture 3 times, each in a slightly different style. One being more of a traditional anime look, one being kind of a semi-realistic look, and the other one being a minimalistic look where I use mostly black and white. Just to kind of experiment with those 3 styles and compare them to each other and see what I have to do to make them work. And I think it's kind of fun to see how different they are and how just which areas I have to change in order to give the same kind of vibe on each one. Yesterday I was doing the hair on the semi-realistic one, and when I looked at it this morning, I was just like, wait, did she always have this much hair? And it's funny, because the semi-realistic one, like I initially started with the anime version, and I basically copy and pasted the anime version into the other ones as a starting point, so I didn't just have to start from scratch. Just to save me a little bit of time and effort. So they were using identical hair at the start, and I did a little bit of modifying it. I had to make it a little bit smaller on the top of the head for proportion reasons. So objectively, the semi-realistic version had less hair. But as I got deep into shading it on the semi-realistic version, I realized that it looked like she had considerably more hair. And I just think that's funny, even though, like, objectively, there are less pixels of hair in the semi-realistic version, because I had to shrink it. But for whatever reason, it looks like she has more, just because of how it's shaded. So I'm going to go through today and kind of trim out some of the hair, and make it look a little bit less poofy. I guess you could say that yesterday, or today, I learned why anime characters always seem to have so much hair. It's because they do. You have to put more hair in order to get the same level of fullness and prettiness that you'd get in a more realistic picture. And so they just end up with more hair. Stylization is really interesting, I think. Just the way you can change and alter reality. And the effects that has, and what you have to change around it in order to make it not look weird. Another good example is that I had to make the neck on the semi-realistic version much thicker. The neck on the anime version is actually quite skinny. And that's pretty normal for anime. The necks are rarely anywhere near a realistic width. And if you tried to make them that way, it would honestly look, I don't know, kind of bad. Like, the neck would just look unnaturally thick. Path to Nowhere gets much closer with their proportions in the neck here, but even then, I think the neck would probably, if this were an actual lady, probably be closer to out here. Even this is still thin, and it's still thicker than what most anime styles that I see use. It's been a very interesting experiment. I've been having a good time. I think it was a good experiment to do to get back into drawing. And I was still going through that bit of a slump. I think I'm out of it now. So that's good news, and it makes me happy. I've been able to draw very freely. And it feels good. So I'm taking my sweet time on that one, just to really explore these styles and kind of, I don't know, find my personal variations on those in ways that I like. I'm not sure how much I'll draw in semi-realistic styles in the future. Like, I'm glad that I have it in my repertoire, so I could do it later if I want. But frankly, I've been having a lot more fun with just over-the-top expressions. That's a lot harder to do with semi-realism. I've been scouring Google for, like, inspiration and ideas on how other people have stylized art in similar situations. And it's, I don't know, it's just not as fun. Sometimes I see some people pushing the expression and make him look bigger and more happy, but a lot of the time it's just very subdued. That's the best way I put it. Sometimes it goes full Instagram dead face, but even the ones that are more expressive, I don't know, it's just more subdued. I guess you could call it more realistic. It may come with the territory, or maybe the world just needs me to experiment with this more, and I don't know, maybe I should study caricatures a little bit too, because I know that they can kind of get into the semi-realistic styles without, well, maintaining absolutely ridiculous levels of expressiveness. I think that might be worth looking into. Won't do that for this piece. I already have the expression laid out the way I wanted to, and I didn't want to make this one super big. This one had a lot of other experiments into it. And also I was in a slump, so I didn't want to do anything too hard on me. But still, I am pleased with the level of experimentation that I've been able to go through. I've also picked a character that wears, like, heavy makeup. And so figuring out how to do that while keeping things anime and all that is interesting. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do it in my minimalist style yet. If I'm going to bring in more colors, or if I'm going to leave it out. And I'd like to be able to keep some of those details. Just because at this point I'm trying very hard to keep the same overall vibe between the three pictures. And I do think that the makeup is an important part of her vibe. She looks a little bit fake. And that is just the nature of this character. I'm drawing one of my original characters. Her name is Holly. And I like to write characters with, like, superpowers and stuff, and hers relies on, it's basically a manifested Dunning-Kruger effect, where people think that they're as strong as they think they are. Kind of a universal buff ability. And so she kind of makes herself out to be super infallible and perfect. So that this way people will, I don't know, I guess believe in her. And believe in what she has to say. And so when she says that, yes, my powers will just make you so much stronger, gonna be the best thing ever. It's like they'll be able to believe that. And they'll become that much stronger because of it. It's an interesting power to play with. I like her. She's very fun. Complete doof masquerading as a goddess. It has been nice to draw one of my own characters again. It's been a while since I've done that. And considering that the reason that I learned how to draw in the first place was because I wanted to draw my characters, it's kind of nice to do it again. Felt kind of like I had lost something there, since I hadn't been drawing my characters at all. So I'll have to make a point to do it a little bit more often than I am. Or than I have been. Just derp around, draw some OCs. It'll be great. I guess that's one thing that I tried to do in order to pull myself out of the slump that I was in. I've just reminded myself why I wanted to draw in the first place. The reason was, you know, nothing super grand or anything. I don't think it has to be. It was literally, I just wanted to be able to draw my characters. And then I was like, oh yeah, that was something I wanted to do. Let's do it now. And it helped. I think it actually really did help, of just reminding myself why I did all this in the first place. There's a whole ton of sliding on this strand, and it's given me a little bit of trouble here. Is it just sliding every which direction? And it's hard to figure out which way that I actually need to pull it to get it out of all this sliding. Get everything in the right place. Kind of wondering what I did to it to make it so squirmy and unhappy. It's alright, I just gotta look carefully. Look very carefully. And then fix all these spots that are just not satisfied with their current location in life. And actually, I think I might use how the mesh is transforming as a hint here. Okay. So one thing I can always do if I get a little bit stuck is I can disarm the parameter but keep the mesh selected. And then I can just look and see how it deforms between the two keyframes. And sometimes that can help me find areas that are not in the right spot. Because, like, I handmade this mesh, and while I tried to keep the distances fairly consistent, that's not something I'm going to be able to do just freehand. So sometimes they're a little bit off. And in this case, finding those places where they're a little bit off and misaligned and all that will probably help me get everything back into place and get everything where it belongs. That's the hope anyway. Alright, let's see if that helped any. Yeah, that helped a lot, I think. Still has some more that I want to do on it, but it definitely helped a lot. While dealing with these difficult areas that don't want to cooperate with me, I'm just telling myself, you know, once I finish these head turns, I can do hair physics. I've been looking forward to hair physics for so long, and I'm just like, yes, let's get those hair physics. To keep pulling through these difficult turns. And then I can do all the hair physics. And it'll be great. So excited. Just thinking about it got me a little bit more motivated again. Especially thinking about it and then saying it out loud. It's like, yeah. Let's get those hair physics. Let's get ready to where I'll be able to do them. Just gotta finish getting all this hair into place. And the corners. Ooh, the corners. Corners are gonna be rough, I think. But I do have everything laid out relatively well. I've been trying to be as clean as possible. So hopefully the corners won't be too painful. But for now, gonna continue getting this bang into place. Just trying to work everything out here. It's still being a little bit tricky, just because of how much it got moved around while I was putting everything in place with the brush. But I think I have the worst of it worked out. You can see I'm already about halfway down the strand now. So it's definitely doing a lot better. Just using the mesh view here to give myself more clues as to which vertices are squirming around the most. And where do I need to adjust some of these. I'm not checking without the mesh for now. I'm not going back and checking to see how everything's looking or anything like that. I'm just focusing on getting some of the spacing between some of these vertices a little bit more accurate, because I think otherwise I'm just going to see more sliding. And it'll drive me a little bit crazy. But slowly but surely I'm getting through the worst of it. So soon I'll probably actually take a look to see if I'm doing the right thing. Just gonna continue worrying about getting everything into roughly the right place for a little while longer. I might as well continue going down the Strand just to get rid of all the places that would have incredibly obvious shifting to my eyes. Just going down one vertex at a time. One vertex at a time. But I think I'm getting there, almost to the tip now. And hopefully everything will look pretty good once I get the most obvious problem spots out of the way. And then after that I can just focus on what I want to change for a more three-dimensional look. This way it looks like she's actually turning her head. Although, honestly, I don't think this bang is going to have much in terms of 3D effect. Because it's just hanging down in front of her face. It's like we'll see a little bit more of the top of it, but I've already done the top. Like, the top near the part already looks really good, I think. Already very satisfied with it. So I'm not quite sure what to expect there. I think this lower part of the bang is probably honestly just going to be fine. Once I fix some of these problems. It looks like everything's going pretty well. Just getting all of the triangles here to be closer to how they were in the original front view. Lining them up, hoping for the best. Sometimes hoping for the best is all I can really do. Just try it and do my best and see what happens. That's kind of how I approach a lot of things in my life. That's how I've been approaching streaming too. When I first started, I didn't really expect anything, and now I suddenly have over 25 subscribers, and I'm like, man, how did that happen? I was surprised, so I'm glad you all enjoy watching me put stuff together, and thank you for taking the time to subscribe. It means a lot, trust me. I notice every single one of you. I'm not to the point where I have, like, you know, 1 million subscribers, and so I'm getting, like, multiple in a day or anything. I'm still fairly new, and every single one means quite a lot. So thank you. I appreciate it. Definitely makes it easier to keep going. Doesn't feel like I'm shouting into the void anymore. That's kind of how I felt when I was posting a bunch of art on Twitter. Just occasionally I'd get a few likes here and there, but Otherwise, it really was just throwing stuff out there and kind of shouting to the void. Never really got any particular feedback or anything, and just kind of did my best to figure out what I should do, and after a while, I was having trouble doing so, so I decided to try something else. Decided to try streaming. Figured that might be something people enjoy too. It sounds like people are, so I'm glad to see it. Alright, I think that's probably going to be pretty close. So let's see how it actually looks. Alright, yeah, that looks like it got rid of most of the distortion, but I think there's still some right around here. Yeah, so I'm going to go focus in on this area again. So I appear to have missed some. So what's not working quite right over here? Like right around here. Just gonna try to figure out what's wrong here. Because for a lot of these, I honestly was having trouble identifying the problem. I just need a little hint from this. Autosave, trying to help me out here. Stopping me from moving things up and down. Alright, I appreciate you too, autosave. You're doing your best. Alright, I don't see anything too off and all the triangles there. How does it look? It's still like all gummed up. No, I think we're good. Okay, so from here I can just make tweaks as I please. And so I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to make this shadow a bit smaller, but I don't actually think I do. I don't think the bangs will be, like, twisting at all. I think they just kind of hang. I think they just kind of hang, so no need to do anything too crazy here. Just get rid of any of the excess crunchiness around here, and I think it's probably going to be good. So I'll zoom out for that. We can laugh at the funny bald spot. I'm gonna, right now, taking a look at the area around her eyes and just kind of following it down. Still think things are a little bit wonky right over here, though. Kind of hoping that the other bang goes a little bit more smoothly for me. So this one was surprisingly hard. I didn't expect it to be that hard. But everything just got gummed up somehow, and I just kind of had to work my way through it all. But now I think it's doing much better. Now I can just kind of go into polishing touches mode. And get everything looking really nice. But I definitely feel like I got the worst of it out. Things are still looking a little bit crunchy right around here. Alright, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to focus on getting rid of all that crunchiness. And I think once the crunchiness is gone, that'll give me a good hint that the vertices are all in the right place. So I'm not going to leave until nothing is crunchy anymore. I might compare the shapes here. Yeah, like you can see this one is a little bit more jagged. So I think this is actually okay. I'm not gonna zoom out until all the crunchiness is gone and everything is kind of actually looking the way that I want it to. Just gonna do some gentle movements around here. Very gentle, very slight. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Okay, maybe somewhere around there. Yeah, that doesn't look crunchy at all here. Alright, still a little bit of distortion around here. At least in a way I don't like. Just a little bit here. Alright. Let's try this one now. See how things go. Alright. I think that looks pretty good. So I'll call that good for now. We'll see how the me of tomorrow feels about it. I want to go take a look at this side bang too. So I'm gonna go stare at it for a little bit. See if I can find any problems. There's a couple. This one does appear to be shifting downward just a little bit. I'm trying to be very gentle here. I don't want to move things too much. I have learned my lesson. I mean, knowing me, I'll probably make that mistake a few more times. Just overdoing it a little. It's in my nature. It's in my nature. It'll be okay. Alright, so I'm gonna go work my way right through here. Okay, I do think it is. Actually, that's something I should check on this side too. But I felt like the gradient was sliding down a little bit too much. And yeah, indeed, there is a little bit too much on this side too. So I just need to pull this up a little bit. I'm actually kind of surprised I forgot to check that, but the gradient there is a little bit more subtle. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. So what I'm looking at here is that you can see that there's this highlight right here, and that highlight is kind of connected to where it changes from kind of the purple to white. And then when I pull her head down, like up here, the gradient is up on her upper eyelash, whereas down here, it's like at her lower eyelash, and the gradient is like much further down. Gradient up here kind of lines up the center of her eye, whereas here it's well below it. So I want to slide that up quite a lot. Remember how I said I wasn't going to learn my lesson? I told you. I told you I wasn't going to. So I'll slide everything else up a little bit with that. And I'll worry about these two little strands sticking out the bottom there after. Alright, that already looks a lot better, I think. So now I just gotta slide everything else up with it. And I think in this case it'll be easier to do manually. Have a little bit more control over where everything goes, how it all shakes out. And right now I think I need that control. Alright. Yeah, a little bit of crunchiness I have to fix, but that did get a lot more stuff to where it needs to go. Now it's not too low. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Gonna keep sending all these little highlights and everything a little bit higher up. Hopefully they will enjoy their time up there a little bit more than they are where they currently are. It's like nobody squirms like that when they're happy. Oh, these little squirming pixels must be just so sad. So I'll just try to get them into a better spot, where they won't have to squirm quite as much and feel quite as uncomfortable. There is a place for everyone here. Just gotta get him there. Alright. How's it doing now? Still dropping a little bit, especially right over here. But it's definitely a lot better than it was. This one is cooperating with me a little bit more than the other one, so I don't have to pull quite as many shenanigans and stare at things in mesh mode. And just kind of take it all casually. Do what I want. Light everything up to the tip. And like I said, I'm going to ignore the two little strands coming off of it for the time being. Only worrying about this one because it controls the corner of this area up here. So that's what's important for the time being. Oh wow, I pulled this one a little bit too high up. Okay. Cool. I think I have everything else in a pretty good spot, though. Just need to kind of clean it up and get everything in exactly the right place, but it's no longer just sliding everywhere. Not unlike this guy, who's very much sliding everywhere. Does not know what is going on. It's alright, we'll help him get back down. Back down to where he belongs. Okay, still needs a little bit more there near the end. Just keep sliding it around. Really get it down there. There was a lot of movement there. Trying to get the shape of the curl here nice and smooth. Oh, we still got some distortion there, but I will clean that up as the time comes. Gotta kind of get everything in the right place first, because man, it's still too high up. I really overdid it on this end, didn't I? I'm actually gonna pull out the brush. Really get you down there. We'll see how much I regret my life choices for ignoring those two strands later. But I really gotta get... There we go. The tip there in the right place. Alright. So now I have things roughly the correct shape. So now I want to get all the highlights and the gradients and all that stuff into the right place. And I was already seeing that these guys right around here were not in the right place, but I want to make sure nothing higher up is in the wrong place, and indeed, I do think I need to pull out the edges here a little bit more. There's a little bit of squirming right around here. Starting at the top and working my way down. Using that strategy that's been working so well for me. It's very nice because it means that I can trust the position relative to everything else. Like I know everything from about here up is right. So whenever something lower looks correct relative to that point, I know it's probably in the right place. At the very least, it's a very good indicator that things are going right. Didn't sleep super great last night. Had lots of sleepwalking and very anxious dreams where I thought people were breaking into my house. Always very awkward when I have dreams like that. They're not very restful. So I'll probably stop shortly here. Just because I am a bit tired today. I'm gonna try to resist taking a nap though. Naps don't always interfere with my sleep later, but I want to draw, man. And if I nap, then I'm not gonna be able to draw. That would just be sad. So I'm hoping that I'm not too tired to do more art. And I'm just too tired to handle all the small details that come with rigging. That is my hope for the time being. Oh yeah, and one other thing I want to do. We're gonna clear the funny bald spot. Yeah. Just have all the hair on. But yes, I am a bit tired today, so I do think that I will end it here for today. Well, thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any other creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on Twitter or Instagram and I'll take a look and maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.